Before we start, check out my Roblox UGC shop and pick up some anime-inspired accessories. The links are down below, so join the group and follow me on Roblox to help me out. Alright, let's get into it. What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we pose the question, is this the end of Deepwoken PVE Builds? The answer might surprise you, it's yes and no, but let me explain why. So, a controversial change has occurred in Deepwoken's PVE, but I think it's going to be healthier for the state of the game moving forward. So, before we get started, to understand what I'm talking about now, let's talk about the PvE builds of the past and why we can no longer make them. Previously, PvE builds in Deepwoken were designed in a few different ways to take on the multiple monster gauntlets offered by the game. Some were tanky, sustainable builds that lasted through the Diluvian mechanism, Hell mode, or even just base gameplay, but some wanted speed. Speedrunning players tried to optimize everything at their disposal to cut down the time spent shredding bosses, and these were really effective. No matter how you built your PvE build, you wanted to maximize damage versus monsters while dealing insane DPS at the same exact time. So what exactly did many players use to efficiently farm bosses? The equipment modifier, damage versus monsters, and monster armor was some of the most valuable things a PvE player could use on their build, but it gave up something very important. Instead of choosing equipment that granted HP, physical resistance, or even ether, many monster hunters opted for boons against monsters and left them weak to other players. If you were on a PvE build, in many cases, there was absolutely no way your build stats would compare against a competitive ganking player, but you still had ways to fight back. Anyway, cutting back to modern day Deepwoken, we ask again, is this the end of PvE builds? What I'm saying might sound negative or bad, but I think it actually might be a good thing, and the answer is yes. Remember what I said, old PvE builds that highly invested couldn't really fight back, but now that issue has partially been solved. In the latest Deepwoken update, a massive game-changing patch dropped in an attempt to bridge the gap between PvP and PvE builds. So it might be self-explanatory, but competitive ganking builds had no real way to fight monsters, making it boring and very time-consuming. No matter what skill you had, there was absolutely zero way to take down monsters like a PvE build, and it took forever. Inversely, PvE players invested so heavily into their own monster hunting setup, they had no room for HP or resistance, choosing damage versus monsters over anything else. To somewhat resolve this problem, here's what happened. In this update, the armor pips, damage versus monsters, and monster armor can no longer randomly roll on equipment, but spawn innately instead. Overall, what this means is that players can guarantee how much these modifiers will have on their armor, but it won't be as powerful as it used to be since the randomness has been removed. So instead of RNG farming, essentially gambling, obtaining this damage boost is consistent every single time. Although some armor is better than others for PvE monster hunting, players that want to do a mix of content don't have to lose out on HP or resistance, so damage versus monsters and monster armor are all bonus on top of the other equipment boosts, and I think that's good. Besides that, to make up for the objective dip in monster damage, you can actually obtain modifiers against specific certain mobs with the bestiary achievement system. By opening the new encyclopedia Bestiary, each mob you defeat is listed with challenges and achievements based on your kill count. The more you farm, the more resistance and damage you can deal to that mob, and the great part is that it's shared on your account. This means all of your earned experience and playtime will grant you buffs for every single character, meaning you can do a mix of content and still reap the same benefits. Even further, to bring up the base damage of players, almost every single mob in the entire game lost about 10% of its max HP, meaning we deal crazy damage on top of the account-wide buffs. Of course, a fully min-maxed monster hunting build in Deepwoken is much more than your gear. It heavily revolves around talents, mantras, and weapons, but maybe that's gonna change. Players no longer have to invest so heavily to get through monster content if they invest the time, and I think that's great in a lot of ways. I think with the new bestiary system and earned achievements, that's something a lot more players are willing to invest their time into instead of grinding for random chance RNG loot. Circling back to our question, is this the end of PvE builds? From my hands-on experience with this update, no, it's not the end of PvE building. At most, the worst equipped PvE builds will still get some bonuses, while min-max players who fight monsters lose some of that older capability before this update while still gaining the option to play in PvP content. So basically, the ceiling has dropped while the floor has risen for monster hunting builds, bridging the gap and making them a little bit closer in comparison. With the reduction of monster HP, optimization of account shared buffs, and better stats on builds all the way across the board, there's a lot of changes here that I think are healthy. But anyway, please leave your thoughts down below and tell me what you think, because I want to hear it, so so I can tell the devs. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out the channel. So if you want to join as a member, go down below, and besides that, my personal Discord, guild Discord, and my UGC group are all linked, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punching time.